Good morning, Mom.
How are you today?
We are fine, Mom.
Okay, that's good. So before we were going to start, please stand up for a prayer. Okay, you can have a seat now. Today, we will going to have an activity. There is a word puzzle in front of you.
Instruction activity. Word puzzle. With the help of corresponding meaning, it will be served as a hint to find a word in the puzzle. Now, let's answer it. A paid occupation, especially one that involves prolonged training and a formal qualification.
Profession.
Correct. It is the process of developing or being developed.
Development.
Correct. A person who teaches, especially in a school.
Teacher.
Correct. The system of rules which a particular country or community recognizes as regulating the actions of its members and which it may enforce by the imposition of penalties.
Law.
Correct. A permit from an authority to own or use something, do a particular thing, or carry on a trade.
License.
Correct. The ability to use one's knowledge effectively and readily in execution or performance.
Skills.
Correct. Have as the foundation for something. Use as a point from which something can develop.
Basis.
Correct. The study of past events, particularly in human affairs. History. Correct.
Let's proceed to our discussion. Okay, our topic for today is continuing professional development, lifeblood teachers. And our goals for this lesson are: number 1, criticize the historical and legal basis of CPD. Number 2, explain the salient provisions of Republic Act 10-19-12 or the CPD Act of 2016. And the number 3 is CPD when and how to earn the CPD units. Continuing Professional Development or Act of 2016, Republic Act 10-19-12, it is hereby declared the policy of the state to promote and upgrade the practice of professions in this country. Towards this end, the state shall institute measures that will continuously improve the competence of the professionals in accordance with the international standards of practice.
The historical and the legal basis of CPD.
Historical and legal basis of CPD. Senator Trillanes and Senator Escudero pursued the act of mandating and strengthening the CPD. They prepared and submitted jointly by the committee. They transferred same year of 2015. The period of interpellations and committee amendments was closed. Inquiry of senators and chair. And in second reading with amendments, printed copies were distributed in 2016. The letter informed the House of Representatives, enrolled and enacted into law without executive approval pursuant to the provisions of Section 27, Article 6 of the Constitution on July 21, 2016. With the help of Bato de la Rosa, it became the Republic Act 10-9-12 with pursuant to paragraph Section 7, Rules of Senate, Republic Act number 10-19-12. With the pertinent documents transmitted to the legislative records and archive services for keeping and preservation, this law mandated registered Filipino professionals to take up and complete additional formal and non-formal learning before they can renew their PRC. To keep all professions abreast with the developments in their perspectives and promote their competencies and qualifications. CPD process helps the teachers to manage on development on an ongoing basis. It also functions to help you record, review, and reflect on what have you learned in CPD The CPD can deliver a deeper understanding of what it means to be a professional, along with a greater appreciation of the implications and impacts of your work. Article 4. Final provisions of the legal basis of CPD. The implementations of the provisions of this act shall be immediately included in its annual submissions of inclusion in the annual general appropriations in Article in Section 15. Implementing rules and regulation in Section 16, frauds relating to CPD, fraudulent acts relating to the implementations of enforcement of this act shall be punishable under the pertinent provisions of the revised penal code. The new civil code and other applicable laws in Section 17, separability clause, which if any part of this act is declared invalid or unconstitutional, the other pertinent with documents, the other provisions not affected thereby shall remain in full force and effect. In Section 18, the repealing clause that all laws, decrees, executive order, and other administrative issuance, or parts thereof which are inconsistent with provisions of this act are hereby repealed or modified accordingly. Accordingly, with pertinent documents transmitted to the legislative records and archive services for keeping and preservation. This law mandated registered Filipino professionals to take up and complete additional formal and non-formal learning before they can renew their PRC, to keep all professionals abreast with developments in their perspectives and promote their competencies and qualifications. That is all the historical and legal basis of CPD. And that is the historical and legal basis of CPD. And now let's proceed in second topic.
Basis of continuing professional development in the Philippines.
Before we formally start our discussion, I have for an activity. And I will give you a win for each sheet of a card kanina, and this will be the group 1 and this will be the group 2. I have for a few words. The need to do is to paste these words in a thumbs up or in a thumbs down column. Put these words in a thumbs up column when that word is needed to acquire the teacher to enhance their skills as a professional. And if not, put these words in a thumbs down column. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
So, wait. And
Okay, good afternoon everyone. I am the number 2 reporter and my topic is basis of continuing professional development in the Philippines. By the way, I am Rizal B. Aguilar. Okay, continuing professional development is defined under the CPD Act of 2016 as the inculcation of advanced knowledge, skills, and ethical values in a post-licensure specialization or an inter- or multidisciplinary field of study for assimilation into professional practice, self-directed research, and or lifelong learning. So in other words, CPD or continuing professional development is an ongoing process of developing, maintaining, and so in other words, CPD or continuing professional development is So in other words, CPD or continuing professional development is an ongoing process of developing, maintaining, and documenting your professional career. It is a cycle because as we teacher, as we a student from the top until now, as we are a teacher, we are still learning. It is also called a cycle because we cannot easily teach our students in a certain lesson if we are not going to study first or anything else. These skills may gain formally through courses or training or through education, and it is informally gained through experiencing or by watching others. Also, it means continually updating your skills and knowledge in order to remain competent in your professional career. Also, we as a teacher, CPD is very important because it safeguards the public, our students, because we are the servant of the society, our employer, the professional and other teaching career. It is an ongoing process and a career-long obligation for practicing professional. Remember, class, that the profession teacher, we are going to teach we as a teacher, we are the one who teach the different field of course. We as a teacher, we are the one who teach the different field of study. Example, the medicine, the law, or the attorney. That's why CPD is very important to us. What is it for? Or CPD, what does it mean CPD as a teacher? CPD process helps the teachers to manage their own development in an ongoing basis. Its function is to help you record, review, and reflect on what you have learned so far. And here are the key features of CPD needs to acquire by the teacher. Number 1, a documented process. Number 2, self-directed, driven by you and not your employer. Number 3, focus on learning experiences, reflective learning and review. 4, it includes both formal and informal learning, and also provides or ensures that you stay relevant to your profession. CPD helps you to continue to make a meaningful contribution to your team. They assist you to advance in your career and move into new positions where you can lead, manage, influence, coach, and mentor others. CPD helps you to stay relevant and interested in your profession. CPD provides an overview of your professional development up to date, records of your achievements, and how you've professional directs your career, and helps your knowledge stay relevant and up to date. It uncovers gaps in your skills and capabilities. You'll be more aware of the changing trends. And directions in your professions. The pace of change is probably faster than it's ever been. And this is the features of the new normal that we work and live in. If you stand still, you'll be left behind, as the currency of our knowledge and skills becomes outdated. What is continuing professional development in the Philippines? It is a lifelong learning process which aims to enhance the competence of the professional by upgrading and updating knowledge and skills for the profession in the... What is continuing professional development in the Philippines? It is a lifelong learning process which aims to enhance the competence of the professional by upgrading and updating knowledge and skills for the preparation as brought about by modernization, scientific knowledge and skills for the profession as brought about by modernization, scientific and technical advancement in the profession.
Subtopic: what should teachers leaders do for continuing professional development?
Good afternoon, class.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you this afternoon?
Fine.
Alright, so before we start our class this afternoon, let's have first an activity. I will group you into two groups. This group is for the group 1 and this is for the group 2. So I will give you... As you can see, I have here a page first. So each paper contains a statement. All you have to do is to explain the statement in this paper. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, your timer starts now. Time's up. Okay, group 1, you may now present your work here in front.
For the group 1, the step of perfect CPD is plan and do.
All right, group 1, how about? All right. Thank you so much, group 1. How about group 2?
Okay, for the steps of the CPD is the record and reflect.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. And for this afternoon, our topic is what teachers or leaders do to continue the professional development. All right. Continuing professional development, or also known as CPD, is simple follow the 4 steps to prepare the CPD. So we have here plan, do, record, and reflect. So now let's talk first about the plan. In planning, your CPD start by making an honest assessment of your current situation and determining your professional development and determining professional development goals for both the current year and the medium term. Example, next 2 to 3 years, because the need of each individual will vary. There is no prescribed program. It is for you to recognize your own needs and opportunities inside and outside the workplace and take advantage of learning experiences in developing your own continuing professional development. Alright, it is useful that you are going to ask yourself what do you. Okay, so it is also possible to link your CPD record. It is useful to ask yourself what are the things that you need to achieve, what are the things that you want to get in order for you to give the students a good learning. Now let's move on to number 2, which is the do. Alright, once you plan your CPD, it is time. Once you plan your CPD, it is time to get out there and start developing. Although, getting out there and attending some activities require time management, skills, and motivation. It offers valuable returns as it keeps you connected to the wider food science community and improve networking skills. As educational psychology says, you learn more by networking than by attending a course. Please remember to reflect while on the go. It is easier to It is easier to remember the K-light bulb movement, which often result in improving and chances to current practices. So it means that at the first you are going to plan first what are the things that you need to improve more. Then in the second part, which is the do, you are going to execute, or you are going to have an action on how are you going to achieve your planning. So now let's move on to the record. Record, monitor, and record your progress against the plan. That include recording items that you may not have planned, such as training, learning, and experience, which nevertheless have contributed to your professional development. Having said that, CPD is all about quality of the learning rather than quantity of the activities performed. CPD recording should be output focused. What are benefits of learning rather than input focused? Less of date and action. Be mindful when considering an activity which is part of your. of your normal working day routine, as in most instances, it does not qualify as development. So, after doing those plans and after executing those two, you are going to record your progress so that you can identify if it is really effective or not. So now let's move on to the last one, which is the reflect. Reflection is the most important part of CPD reporting, since it's made you think of the value of your work for yourself, your colleague, clients, company, and the wider community. So if reflection is missing, then CPD becomes less beneficial and meaningful as tool. It is useful to ask yourself the following questions. What did you get out of this? What have you learned? How did you learn it? So how will you apply it in practice? And what is the resulting change? So does it plug up any additional development? What benefits will it have for your client or your service? How does this help you prepare a new rule? So, this is the time for you to harness the value of what you have learned by bridging the gap between theory and practice. Getting this section of CPD writing correct is a key element of professionalism and successful career management. Professionals who regularly record CPD and are good at reflecting what they have learned tend to become professionals who continuously drive for development and bring in new ideas. So these benefits
Subtopic: in service trainings given by non-accredited CPD providers.
and their industry overall. That is the end of my lesson, and thank you so much for listening and participating. Once again, thank you so much, and get out there.
And
So good afternoon, I am Alvin Pulan. Are you still with us?
Yes, sir.
Alright, but before we proceed, let's have activity first. So this activity is, I have here a rope paper and I will group you into 4 groups. Then each group will be assigned a role play. Activity or topic for this afternoon is in-service training given by a non-accredited CPD provider. So the first is teaching. So we all know teaching is one of the oldest occupations in the Philippines. It is one of the most respected too. A teacher used to be regarded as a paragon of virtues and infallible source of knowledge and unfailing guide in times of trials and difficulties. So we all know that teacher is the occupation of teachers or the work. So the maestra and the maestro of the olden times were bound to follow 3 requirements. So first is continuous importance and perfection in their areas of expertise. The second is leading a life of impeccable reputation. Third, demonstrated service to their fellow men. So, what is CPD? So, CPD. So, next is why do we need CPD? So, CPD, social protection and general welfare of the Republic, to promote and upgrade the practice of professions in the country. So, what's the difference between training and development? So, training is a program that helps employees learn specific skills to improve their performance in their current role. And the development indicates the gradual and long-term process relevant to the group of personality and maturity regarding their potential capabilities.
So,
The benefits of CPD employees. So, keeping professional knowledge and skills up to date. Number 2 is the professional standard of qualification and registration and maintain. Number 3 is provide a professional sense of direction. So that's all for my topic for this afternoon, and thank you.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. Before we will start our discussion, I will group you first into two groups. So, this is the first group and this is the second group. So, all you have to do is construct a chain of 9 steps of the professional development plan. Okay, so this is the group 1 and this is the group 2. Okay, start now. So much for participation, and now let's proceed to the discussion. Participating, please. Okay, thank you so much for participating. And now let's proceed to the discussion. So my topic is all about designing continuing professional development plan. So start. Okay, so example of the designing continuing professional development plan is the Department of Education or the DepEd Order number 35 series of 2016. So, the Learning Action Seal as a K-12 basic education program, school-based continuing professional development strategy for the improvement of teaching and learning. Okay, so the following are the
oh,
Huh? Okay, the following are the aims of this policy. So first, we have to improve the teaching learning process that will lead to improved learning among the students. And number 2, we have to nurture successful teachers. Okay,
Subtopic.
number 3, we have to enable teachers to support each other to continuously improve their content and pedagogical knowledge, practice, skills, and attitudes. And number 4, we have to foster a professional collaborative spirit among school heads, teachers, and the community as a whole.
wait lang. That's all. Balik siya.
Okay, so that's all. Thank you and God bless.
Good afternoon, class. I am Shinamar Ukas, one of the reporters this afternoon. Before we will continue with the reporting, let us have first an activity. So, instead of grouping you into 4 groups, I will just group you into 2 groups. So, this row will be the group 1 and this row will be the group 2. So, I have here a 2 flags. You are going to raise this flag if you want to answer. Now, the situation goes like this. Class, you are going to assume to yourself that you are already a professional teacher. Then, of course, during your class discussion, one of your students interrupt you insisting that he or she is correct and you are in the wrong side. Then unfortunately, all of her classmates agreed to her that her more accurate than yours. Then you as a teacher, how will you handle that kind of situation professionally? I will give you 1 minute to do your task. Let's listen to the answer of the group 1.
Okay, good day classmates, good day now. Okay, so I am the group 1 representative. So for us, or for me, if I will become a professional teacher someday, so if I will encounter that kind of situation, then I will handle it professionally to in a way of I am going to accept his or her answer, and I will I will accept that I'm in the wrong side. And furthermore, and to support my answer, not all teachers are correct. Teachers are all human and we're not dictionary. So sometimes we can make mistakes, and that's all.
Let's give a round of applause to group 1. Now, let's proceed with the group 2. Okay, now let's proceed with the work of the group 2.
So this is the answer of group 2. So if I were in that kind of situation, I will just gladly accept my mistake. Because as a teacher, we tend to commit mistakes. As a teacher, also we should listen to the voice of our students. That's how we can be an effective teacher.
Okay, very good. Let's give a hand to the group 2. Did you enjoy our activity, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now let's proceed with our discussion. My task this afternoon is to tackle about the development of teacher leaders. So as a teacher leader, we should have stop. Okay, for example of this is Mom Julie. Just like what she did to us. She has a strong vision toward her students. She wants her students to understand something from her subject.
She gave us a task to report her in front, but of course to know further to really understand what we have discussed here in front, she gives us a follow-up question. Not to pressure us, but to test how far have we understand our topic so far.
Number 2 is teachers take strategic action. Why? Because for us to become an effective teacher, we should have a different kind of strategies that can catch the attentions of our students. For example of this is my teacher in English literature. During her time, we didn't feel boring at all because she has a lot of exciting activities that she wants us to do. So that strategy of hers makes us lively. She catches our attention through that strategy of hers. Okay, number 3, our teachers are adept at building relationships across lines of difference. So it is important as a teacher to build relationship because we are both challenging and motivating our students. As a teacher, we should know how to build a relationship between students and a teacher. We should not put a wall in between because as an effective teacher, we should accept their differences too. We should respect their culture and etc. So that's how we can become an effective teacher leader soon. Number 4 is continually push themselves to learn and improve. So as a teacher, we should motivate our students, or we should encourage them that they can be more and they can achieve more. And lastly, teacher leaders are excellent communicators. Of course, as a teacher, that's a given. Teachers should have a good communication skills. Prioritize listening over speaking to understand different perspectives. So just like what happened into our activity a while ago, teachers are given a situation where she needs to defend herself professionally. So, as a teacher, we should accept our mistakes. If we make mistakes, then of course, as a teacher, we should accept mistakes too. Because we are not a dictionary. We are just teacher, we are just human who tend to commit mistakes. So, of course, we should prioritize, from the word prioritize, listening over speaking. So, as a teacher, we should accept the opinion or the ideas of our students, because how can our students approach us if we are an unapproachable Now, let's move on into the qualities of a teacher leader. First is problem-solving ability. So, as a teacher, we should know how to solve a problem. Not just in mathematics, but of course, in the classroom, there are lots of problems. So, we should know how to handle that one. Next is passion. So, when you have a passion in teaching, of course, you are good in anything. Charis, joke lang. Next to that is responsibility. So as a teacher, we should have a strong sense of duty. And of course, next is courage. As a teacher, we should be courageous in what kind of Next is courage. So as a teacher, we should be courageous enough to face what kind of students we are going to handle, or what kind of challenges that we are going to encounter during the whole school year. And next is expertise. So of course, as a teacher, we should be So as a teacher, we should be experts in doing our task, especially in teaching. Next is commitment. So of course, as a teacher, we should dedicate ourselves on teaching. Next is integrity. Stop studying. So as a teacher, we should be honest. We should be the teacher of integrity. Next is focus. So being a teacher, we should focus on doing our job, on how to handle with our students, like that. Next is positive attitude. So of course, as a teacher, we should have a positive attitude, because if we are a nega, then our students will, they will not approach us, because we have this kind of attitude when someone approaches us. Oh no, next is generosity. So as a teacher, we should be generous. Next is generosity. So being a teacher, we should be generous enough towards our students, especially on giving grades. So next is discernment. So as a teacher, we should have a strong judgment. Next is the discernment. So being a teacher, we should have the ability to judge well. We should have the ability to understand what kind of situation we may be facing. So next is strong communication skills. Of course, as what I said a while ago, being a teacher, having a strong communication skills is a given, because how will you able to discuss the topic in your class if you don't have the communication skills? Let's move on with effective teaching habits. First is enjoy your work. So, of course, when you have the passion in teaching, then teaching career will become a rewarding and enjoyable career path. Next is spread positivity. Just like what I said a while ago, we should be a teacher of spreading positivity, not negativity. Next is be open-minded. So, just like what I said a
Topic:
while ago too,
practices directed to continuing professional development.
of our students. Next is give it your all. So, teach like your life depends on it, like that. Then lastly is have standards, of course. As a teacher, we should set standards. Stop. So as a teacher, we should set standard for our students to be motivated and do their best to make our standards. That's all.
To continuing professional development. So, practices direct to continuing professional development, it is generally refers to the design or reflect adult learning and principle of autonomy, self-directed, goal-orientation, and practice-based learning. Okay, so when we say practices direct to continuing professional development, it is a long life learning process of a study. So, and also it is the ongoing process for developing, maintaining, and
skills. So these skills may gain such formally courses or training, and informally through on-the-job or by watching others. So for example, for the informal, for being involved in a professional body or giving a presentation at a conference. So for the formal also, it is a going to professional courses and carrying out of their research, which is directed to their self-learning. Okay, so there are two learnings that we gain in practices direct to continuing professional developments, which are formal learnings and informal learnings. Okay, so when we say formal learnings, it is a through courses, training, or particular qualification. So as what I have stated in the definition of practices direct to continuing professional development, the example of formal learning is going to formal courses and carrying out of their research.
Excuse.
Okay, so the example of formal learnings, going to formal courses and carrying out of their research to their self-directed learning. Okay, so for the informal learnings, it is include side-by-side learning and video training or by watching others. So the example of informal learnings, for example of that is being involved in a professional body or giving a presentation at a conference. So
Subtopic: Continuing
the main
professional
aim
development
of
in
practices
action.
direct to continuing professional development. Okay, so the main aim of teacher trainings is to help teacher to develop professionally. So the good trainer can never be used in action at a workshop. Okay, so that is all for my part, and may I call on Mr. Ruben for the further discussion, and that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, my name is Norolyn Tamon, one of the reporter of the group of Hazel May Bastida, and my topic is all about continuing professional development in action. When we say continuing professional development in action, is a combination of approaches, ideas, and techniques that will help you manage your own learning and growth. The focus of CPD is firmly on results, the benefits that professional development can bring you in the real world. Perhaps
Subtopic: Salient provisions of RA 10912, the Continuing Development Act of 2016.
in your career now and whatever you want to achieve, your CPD should be exactly yours. So CPD makes learning conscious and proactive to enhance our skills for application in the workplace. And that's all. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Charity Riluya and I am one of the reporters of the last group. And now, let's proceed to our topic, which is the salient provisions RA or Republic Act 1091 to the Continuing Development Act of 2016. So, what is this Republic Act 1091-2? The Republic Act 1091-2 is known as the Continuing Professionals Development or CPD Act of 2016. It is an act which requires a CPD as the mandatory requirements for the renewal of professional identification card. So the Republic Act 1091-2 is a bill requiring professionals to undergo the further formal and informal learning programs before they can renew their licenses. Like for example, the teachers. before they're going to renew their licenses, they must attend seminar or have a certificate from which seminar they are attending. So in this act, the provisions of it is to maintain and improve the skills and knowledge of the professionals in order to remain professionally competent to achieve their true potential. So the CPD process helps you to manage your own development on an ongoing basis. So its function is to help record, review, and reflect on what you have learned so far. So the CPD ensures your capabilities keep pace with the current industry standards of others in the same field. So another information about the CPD is the CPD ensures that you and your knowledge stay relevant and up to date. And that's all for this topic. I hope that everyone learned from it and understand what we have tackled this afternoon. God bless, and that's all. Bye everyone.